We're going to take a quick look at 3 more examples working with complex conjugates. You don't have to watch this video if you don't want them, but if you want to be walked through a couple examples, this will be a good one. So the first questions are simply asking, can you write down the conjugate for each complex number? So our first number is 3 minus I, and our complex conjugate in this case is going to be 3 plus I. So taking our minus I and making it a plus. Our second one, negative 2 plus 3I, becomes negative 2 minus 3I. Again, the only thing changing is the sign on our complex part. And the third one's a little harder. Just want to catch yourself. 7I minus 1. Notice that this complex number is not written in standard form. It's written backwards with imaginary first. And so if I want to write the conjugate, I want to keep the real part the same. That's negative 1. And I want to change the sign on the imaginary part, so this becomes minus 7I. That was a little tricky. Just gotta keep track of where your imaginary and your real parts are. All right, let's look at the next one. This is a simple division problem. We're doing 5 divided by 3 minus 4I. So let's do this out. 5 divided by 3 minus 4I. We're going to start by writing out our fraction bar, and we've got 5 and 3 minus 4I. And to do division, we have to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate. So we've got 3 plus 4I instead of 3 minus. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. And now we can get started simplifying. So let's put down our fraction bars here just to give myself a head start. All right. So our first one here, let's do the numerator first. 5 times 3, I'm going to distribute this through, becomes 15. And 5 times 4I becomes plus 20I. That's going to be our numerator. And this bottom part, we are going to pull it over and use our box method, because that's how I like to multiply complex conjugates. And so I'll get 3 minus 4I times 3 plus 4I. And if I go through each multiplication, I get 9 minus 12I plus 12I minus 16I squared. Now notice again, just like with all of our complex conjugates, these numbers cancel out. Our imaginary terms cancel. So I'm going to cross those out, and we're just left with 9 minus 16I squared. All right, as we continue to simplify, I'm going to keep my numerator the same, 15 plus 20I. But on the bottom, I've got 9 minus not 16 times I squared, but we're going to rewrite I squared as negative 1. Now I've got 15 plus 20I. Again, our numerator is not really changing. And on the bottom, we've got 9 plus 16, which is 25. So at this point, we've got no more imaginary parts on the bottom. It's just a real number, so that's great. And now we want to think about simplifying our fraction. There's 2 ways we can do this. I'm going to do it by actually separating this out into 2 fractions. So I'm going to have 15 over 25 as my real part, and I'm going to have 20 over 25 I as my imaginary part. And then I can actually go further because all of this can be divided by 5. And I'm going to end up with 3 over 5 plus 4 over 5I. So I'm taking that and I'm simplifying it and writing it as nice clean fractions. All right, let's do one more. It's going to feel kind of similar, but we'll do one more in case you want it. Feel free to stop now if you think this is good enough to get you going. But if you like it, let's do the last one. All right, the last one is negative 13 divided by 2 minus 3I. And I'm sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. She is very sad. She had surgery today. So that's why the groaning is constant throughout this video. But let's do this math problem. So negative 13 divided by 2 minus 3I. We're going to start with, of course, our numerator And our denominator, notice that I do put this in parentheses because I know I'm going to be multiplying by a conjugate, so just to keep it nice and clean. And then I'm going to multiply the top by the conjugate, which will be 2 plus 3i. And I'll multiply the bottom by a conjugate, which will also be 2 plus 3i. And we'll keep going. So my next step is going to be, I'm going to leave, I'm going to do this distribution on top. So negative 13 times 2 is negative 26. And negative 13 times positive 3i is negative 39i. And then on the bottom, I'm going to do the thing where I sneak over and use the box method. So wrong place. Sneak over and use the box method. So I've got 2 minus 3i and 2 plus 3i. And when I do this out, I'm going to get 4 minus 6i plus 6i minus 9i squared. Again, these numbers cancel, so I can leave them out. And I'm left with, on my denominator, 4 minus 9i squared. All right, I want to continue simplifying this, so let's keep going. The numerator is going to stay the same, negative 26 minus 39i. But on the bottom, this becomes 4 minus 9, not times I squared, but we know I squared is negative 1. And when I simplify this out, I get negative 26 minus 39i, and this is 4 plus 9, or 13. I want to simplify my fractions because I like to get it into the lowest term. So I've got negative 26 divided by 13 is negative 2, and negative 39 divided by 13 is negative 3 with my I, and that is my final answer. All right, guys, feel free to let me know if you have questions, and best of luck.